Hey, how you doing everybody? Welcome to the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. Today's video we're going to tackle just a real basic, and that is to roast and puree sweet potatoes. I use a lot of sweet potatoes in a lot of the recipes I use because they make a good substitution for potatoes and also help with some other things. So let's get started. So start with washed and dried sweet potatoes, and then you're going to cut them. Cut the ends off first and then cut them in about thirds, even quarters, but I like to do thirds. So really you're making kind of like really thick slices. So sort of very chunky, thick slices out of it. So depending on the size of your sweet potatoes, that could be cut into 3 or 4. And so we're going to do a couple more here. And once you've got the amount that you want to do, you're going to want to prepare a pan as well. And so put a piece of parchment paper on a baking sheet like this. And now we're going to take them, you have them on your parchment paper lined cookie sheet, and then you're going to poke them with a knife or fork, I prefer using a knife, on a few times on each side. So this is the first side. Be very careful with the knife. I have a really tendency to cut myself often in the kitchen. So I've got Band-Aids at the ready at all times, but just be careful when you're using the knife. So we'll do the first side here. And then we're going to put the knife down and flip them all over, all those pieces over. And flip them over, and then we're going to poke them again on the other side. Oh, and be careful when you're poking potatoes because with a little knife, I like a knife better than a fork, but be careful because you could do yourself a little injury. So take care. So now you're going to take your sweet potato slices, put them in the oven at 350 degrees, and you're going to bake them for about 20 minutes. Check them, take them out, check them with a fork, see if they're tender. If they're not, you put them back in for another 10 minutes, and you keep doing that till they're fork tender. Let them cool off, on their pan, and cool off really well before you do this next step where I'm peeling these out and putting the pieces of them into a food processor, or you could do it in a blender. So now you're going to blend it up. Got to be pretty patient with this. Like you're going to have to blend it, probably stop the blender, take a spatula and move the sweet potato mixture down closer to the blades, and then you're going to need to blend it again, and probably a good 3 times, maybe even 4 times before you get it to a consistency of a puree. And then we'll take the spatula out, and you can see that this is nicely pureed now. And there you have it. How much pureed sweet potato you get really depends on, well, first off, how many sweet potatoes that you roast, and secondly, how big those sweet potatoes are. So it's very hard for me to say, oh, you're going to get this amount of pureed sweet potato at the end. You have to really experiment with that and find out on your own, really. If you want to store it, you can store it in a larger container like this in your fridge or your freezer. Or you can store it in smaller containers. This is about a half a cup, and which is the perfect amount to put into my corn-free cornbread. That's going to be on another video. But for now, thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you again here at the Dietary Restriction Kitchen. Until next time, I'm Nat Ryan. If you like this video, then click the like button below. If you'd like to keep alive the vibe, then hit the subscribe. Thanks so much for watching Dietary Restriction Kitchen. Bye for now.